to all data in its database, its branch and merge development strategy, and its ability to scale due to its inherent plans to develop.
All right, folks, that was a long conversation. I hope you learned about ClearCase as much as I did. All right. And my friend here is trying to desperately shut it off. All right. Who's that? What do you say? Is there going to be a test on branching? You bet. Alright guys, we're going to start the party right now. Whoever likes ClearCase and ClearQuest, shout now! Alright, 20 years of ClearCase and ClearQuest in the marketplace. You guys have made it a success, and here we are celebrating 20 years of a successful product. It's okay. Made all of our lives better and worse. Doesn't matter. Okay, so party begins. My name is Raj. I'm the product manager for ClearCase and ClearQuest, and I'll be. Woohoo! That's right. There are tons of elements here. Tons of customers, folks back there. If you want to have all right, how did you like that? All right, here we have a T-shirt commemorating ClearCase and ClearQuest 2010. All right, it says, all right. So you get a chance to have these T-shirts. There are games here. You play the game, you get the T-shirts, and you get to wear T-shirts and have fun. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to take you through some history of ClearCase and ClearQuest. And our own historian and psychologist, Peter Hack and Dan Duval, come up on stage to take them through. Thank you. Is that better? Well, thank you very much for coming. This is a big crowd, and I hope we can build it up as the next 15 minutes expands, and then we get to the game show, which is clearly the peak of this event. I'm going to cover a little bit of history here. My name is Peter Hack. I should explain that I was born with that name. I didn't change it when I got into the computer field. And one of the projects that I've been very closely involved with recently on ClearCase is the security project. And that should make you extra suspect if there's a hack working on a security project. So take it on your own risk. So we're going to go through a couple of slides. It gives a little bit of history, and then we're going to get to I won't pre-announce the product. So if we can go to the next slide. Matt? I think I need a remote clicker here. All right. One more time. So first off, I work for IBM. You can't start any presentation from IBM without some sort of disclaimer. Then we'll cover a little history. Now, the disclaimer is we're going to be covering a couple of statistics, some uses of ClearCase and ClearQuest that are fairly impressive. We're not saying that we recommend you follow these practices, but they're still pretty impressive numbers.
We have never told the people to do that. It's just the result of some bad usage of the tool.
So this is the cover of the first version of the ClearCase manual. And if you don't believe it, this is the real McCoy. So when this manual was sent out to the printer, we had a different color green in mind. And when it came back, this affectionately became known as Pond Scum Green. This was revised in the version 1.1 manual.
So that's only one of the first into the product.
slide. So I should point first off to the figure on the right-hand side, which looks strangely familiar, I would imagine. You may have seen Danny walking around conferences in the past with that shirt. This was his somewhat artful reinterpretation of the history of the products. It involves many different company names and a couple of different companies in the mix. And it's not by the book accurate, but it's a good representation. So I should note that ClearCase was originally developed by a company called Millennium Teamwear. It was founded in 1990. The first product didn't ship for about a year and a half. So it was 1992 when version 1 of the product shipped. It was founded by Dave LeBlanc, the Chief Technical Officer, and Howard Spilkey, who was the Vice President of Engineering. And a little bit of trivia there. Dave, how many people here have met Dave LeBlanc? I'm wondering. Yeah, there are quite a few. Dave was awesome. He was brilliant. And he had I wouldn't say he had his head in the clouds at all, but he just was this great visionary. And Howard was incredibly practical, and the two of them formed a dynamic duo that helped produce the product that eventually came out. Now ClearCase was actually Dave's third attempt at making a source code control system. This first one was based on the DEC VMS operating system known as the Code Management System, CMS. He then went to work for Apollo, where he developed the domain software engineering environment, affectionately known as DISY. How many people here have used DISY? I'm not surprised. And then finally, he founded Millennium Teamwear and developed ClearCase. So the first lines of code and the original design work for ClearCase were actually written in Dave's house. He had a pretty nice house in Wayland and plenty of space for some Silicon Graphics workstations. And so that became the beginning of the product development. Next slide, Matt. So here's a list of the folks that were employed by the company in 1990. Dave and Howard were the founders. Dave was the CTO and Howard was the VP of engineering. And Paul Levine, how many people here knew Paul Levine? Yes, he was the president and did a fantastic job. And so of course Dave was the product architect at the time, and I'm the architect today. Next slide. Here's a picture of Dave and Paul and Howard outside of the first official office space that they moved into in 1990. I'm not sure why Paul had his eyes closed. That's too bad. Next slide. 5 years later, the company was written up in the Boston Globe, and the three of them didn't age too badly, I'd say, in that span of time, in spite of all the pressure. I'm sorry? It might be the same sweater. I don't know. It was a good sweater. Next slide. And here's a picture of one of our early brochures. And the reason I threw that up here is because a couple of the early members of the team were in here. On the left was Bob Chase, who worked on ClearMake originally. It's hard to recognize the next guy, but he resembles me somehow. Murthy later went to work for Microsoft, but he was hired to help us do our first port to Windows. And then Debbie Menard is on the far right, and she was very involved with development of the core of the product too. Next slide.